Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Amit, and in this lecture we will discuss what is API. In next 5 minutes we are going to discuss about what is API, how this works and what is the benefit of using APIs. So let's quickly start with what is API. An API stands for Application Programming Interface. As its name indicates, this is an interface not for the human but for the machines. API is an interface for the machines where two or more than two machines can communicate with each other and exchange the data between them. API also provides you what operations you can perform for a particular system, on a particular system, and what is the input or output format that you can get or you can send to the system, and what is the object structures that might be in JSON XML format. So if we talk about what we can call or what operation we can perform on a particular system for a particular system, so there are different operations that we can perform. Is like we can get the data, we can create a data on a system, we can delete data, we can update or we can upset the data. We can also get the input form, like what input we can send, and after sending the input what output we will get, that is also provided by the API, and what kind of object structure that API supports. For an example, if we talk about, we have created an API, order processing API, which provides that for getting, if you call a get method or if you call a URL with the method get, you will get this particular response, and this response will return you the order. If we take that we are getting the order, the API is returning the order, and that order contains different attributes like order number, when the order was placed, what is the status, what are the total number of units inside that order, all details, all the items that order contains. And we can also say API is an URL that a machine consume to get the data or to send the data to another machine. That we already discussed that API is an interface. So let's take an example of mobile phone. Mobile phone is an interface for us, not for machine, where we can touch the mobile, we can feel it, or we can find the menus, we can interact with the mobiles. But inside the mobile there are plenty number of applications, those interacts with the different machines or different platforms. With the help of what they interact with each other, with the help of what they send the data from one system to another system. Let's take an example of Gmail. We are sending a message or we are sending an email with an attachment to one of our colleagues, one of our friends, our relatives. How it is sending that information to the other system? With the help of API. Behind the scene, two or more bodies, whenever they are interacting, that actually interacts, that happens with the help of API. And again, as I said that API is an URL. URL can be of two types. One is a public or a private. Public URL is like you will hit that URL, you will get the response. For example, I have put here facebook.com. It is a public API. You can hit that URL, you will get the response, you will see an awesome UI there. You can create your account. If you have account, you can provide your credentials and you can get into the system. And in terms of private or protected API or private or protected URL, those require some kind of authentication scheme. That authentication schemes we are going to discuss in the coming lectures. But let's try to hit this graph API which is of our Facebook. Now if we wanted to get the data of a Facebook for about we can say for any user or for a particular user or for one of our friends, how we can get, because we are not authorized to get the data. For that we have some authentication APIs. You can see I tried to hit this particular URL and I'm getting this error, and this error is saying that there must be an active access token to get the information about the user, about the current user, because this particular URL, once you hit this URL, you get the information about the user. And this is what an API is. It is also an API. Now if I hit facebook.com that we discussed, I can see this is a UI because I am logged in into the system, I am able to get that. If you talk about twitter.com, talk about linkedin.com, every system has their own API and you can connect with them, or you can connect and get the data from them. So this was all over, or we can say a very basic, a brief introduction about the API, and these concepts we are going to take from this lecture to the coming lectures. So this is it for this lecture, and thank you. See you in the next lecture.